Convicted former Chicago Alderman Ed Burke is expected to be sentenced today. Last year, a federal jury convicted Burke on 13 counts of political corruption, including bribery, attempted extortion, and racketeering. Now, joining me this morning to talk more about the sentencing is former alderman and retired political science professor at UIC, Dick Simpson. Thanks for being here this morning. We appreciate it.
Glad to be with you.
Okay, let's speak a little bit about this. Much has been made of his age and also his health at this point in time. So what kind of sentencing do you think we should anticipate for today?
Nearly all of the judges have decided that major corruption cases require a jail time. The highest in recent years was Rod Blagojevich, who got 14 years. The prosecutors are asking for 10 years, and the defense is asking for home confinement. I think the judge will choose somewhere in between, but there will be prison time involved.
Okay, so do you think that the letters that came in, and they were from some pretty high-profile people, including former mayoral candidate Paul Vallis, these letters in support of Ed Burke, do you think that they mattered at all?
I think they will matter some. They show a fuller picture of Alderman Burke and some of the good deeds he's done over the years. However, the judge still wants to send a message to anyone considering corruption that there is a high price to pay for political corruption. That has been consistently the pattern of judges in the federal court. We've had 40 aldermen with Alderman Burke go to federal prison since 1972, and the corruption is still at a very high level in Chicago.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned Blagojevich and also the aldermen who have been in trouble before Ed Burke. So there have been several, even former Governor George Ryan. What does this say to current and maybe even future politicians in Illinois?
Well, I think that everyone would be well advised not to be engaged in corrupt activities. Elected officials such as Alderman Burke and myself have an obligation to the public. They have to represent their constituents. They have to represent the needs of all of Chicago. And if they're making private profit, their opinions and their actions are swayed in ways that hurt the public. They involve higher taxes. They involve bad businesses. It's just an unfortunate situation that we have a history of machine politics and a history of corruption in Chicago that has to come to an end.
Yeah, there are some big messages being sent, and I think that's not only for Illinois, but really across the country. So one of the things that Ed Burke's attorneys have been trying to do is wait out this Supreme Court decision to kind of say, okay, well, this is a precedent for us. Do you think that's going to have any impact on him?
Well, the Supreme Court decision may affect the appeal. It's possible that some of the items on which he was convicted would be erased. But the basic pattern that the Supreme Court has upheld is quid pro quo. When a public official such as Burke gets business for his law firm or campaign contributions or the like for particular government actions, that's the very definition of corruption. And the jury decided that he was indeed doing all of those things. The real issue, I think, that will affect most today is whether or not he shows contrition and recognition that he acted wrongly. He has yet to do so.
Okay, and to you, in the list of charges, and we kind of brought them up on the screen at one point in time, what is the most serious charge?
Well, they're all serious. In 3 different cases, basically what he was doing was taking money through his law firm for actions that he took as a public official. In the case of the Burger King, he was trying to block a driveway, which seems like a small matter, but he was shaking them down for business for his law firm and a $10,000 contribution to Tony Preckwinkle's reelection campaign. In the case of the post office, he was trying to get the developer to, again, hire his law firm. And it goes on with each of them. They're all cases of extortion. They're all cases of bribery, and the jury was unanimous in their decision.
Okay, Professor Simpson, we appreciate your knowledge, your expertise, and weighing in this morning. We'll see what the day holds for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now